Hey guys, your favorite podcast is back with season 4. But of course, as this podcast grows and our network continues to bless us with some wonderful sponsors, we've got a couple coming your way. So sit tight as we have a couple new sponsors coming up for the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to announce the Smooth Sack Summer is officially upon us. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're groomed from pubes to bum. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped, you can make the season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million man worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code THPN. Summertime and the trimming is easy. The Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has everything you need to prepare for that summer bod. Every man knows how scary it can get when going for a close shave below the belt. Inside this package, you'll find the star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and the new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. We also have dual LED spotlights to provide contrast on multiple skin tones, 3-length setting combs, and oh, did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? Beach, lake, or shower, this razor will devour even the strongest pubes. Now that you have the perfect haircut, use Manscaped liquid formulations to keep that freshness even at the hottest summer barbecues. The Crop Soother Aftershave Lotion and Crop Preserver Anti-Chafe Ball Deodorant. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. Manscaped even threw in the free gifts to the Performance Package 5.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. More wet products? Say no more. Manscaped's new Buff Bundle is all you need to keep the summer heat a breeze. This bundle includes their signature silicone scrubber and body wash. Ditch your nasty loofah and grab the taste of freshness. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind.
Hey everyone, it is season 4, episode 1 of the SurgeCast. And we hope you all had a very fun 4th of July. Sorry, we were a little bit delayed getting back. We said we were going to get back on regular schedule, and then holidays hit. But again, there's a lot to cover, and we're happy to be back. And of course, I'm Kat.
I'm Zach.
And let's talk about what's been going on.
Yeah, I think because when we had the draft, free agency started, you had a road trip to Chicago. So yeah, it's been a little crazy the last couple of weeks. That's for sure. I know. I've been super busy.
I've never seen so much Blackhawk gear in my life, and it was overwhelming. Ooh.
Welcome to Chicago.
Yep. Super fun.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been the draft was very interesting, to say the least. So
so I feel like everyone thought the draft was going to be more interesting because there was some news everyone was waiting to hear during it. It didn't happen, and then later you found out why, which was even more annoying. And the elephant in the room that we're kind of talking about is Jake Guentzel leaving the Canes. Oh, well, okay. Well, there's two. Okay. I was more on the Jake train because they had said it was pretty much done. So everyone was expecting it
Thursday,
before the draft.
Mm-hmm. Freeman on Thursday, and then you thought Martinook was going to get traded on Friday. It also doesn't help, too, when you're picking 27th in the draft and you finally get to your pick. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you're trading it, and you're just like, I stayed up for almost 4 hours for no Hurricanes picks. Cool. Great.
I mean, props to you. I have so much trust in our drafting. Like, we excel wherever we draft. So I kind of, unless it's something crazy, I kind of just wait to see who we're grabbing, like when they announce it towards the end. And so I'm like, all right, the next day I'm like, cool, we got that guy. All right.
Yeah. It was definitely fun just sitting there going like, all right, here's that guy, here's that guy, here's that guy. Ooh, let's see who we get at 27. And now it's going to Chicago and says you're like, cool. Fantastic. But you know what? Got a couple more extra picks out of it. Got some guys we're really excited about. So all in all, at least the draft went well. But yeah, when you talked about Jake Guentzel and Martinook, well, that was a time. That was an experience to say the least. You want to talk about Jake Guentzel first? Because
we'll talk about our.
Oh boy,
we'll talk about some free agency, heartbreak, and some free agency big. You to a couple people. There's a lot to go over. So let's start. The big one in the room is Jake Guentzel. He was one of the most sought out players. He was with us, and he was supposed to just be talking to us before free agency. Mm-hmm. We had the rights. Say what you will, it didn't quite feel like we were the only ones talking to him during that time. But you know what? That's how the NHL works. Sometimes things get through the cracks.
Oh, there's no tampering. What are you talking about? That's not a thing. What are you talking about?
Tampa Bay did exactly what they were supposed to be doing, as always. Anyway, so from the news, as we got more news as it came out later, of course, the first thing that we found out was we were like, oh, the deal's pretty much done. We were waiting for it to come through with the draft. And that reporting technically wasn't wrong because I believe on the Canes end, they thought it was going to be pretty much done. Because they had met the ask. Of course, when they got the ask midweek from Jake's camp of wanting 8x8. I feel like they probably tried to negotiate a little bit, but then they said they matched it Thursday morning, Thursday early afternoon. So I don't think it was a huge wait time.
No, it was Tuesday.
I don't think
It was Tuesday or Wednesday when Jake initially was a 7x7.75 from the Canes. Jake and his camp said on Tuesday or Wednesday, can we do 8x8? Thursday morning, like we all know from the Elliot Friedman thing, it was 8-8.
They kind of at that point after the negotiations, they kind of were gonna try. They matched it, gonna try to offer him whatever they could. I don't think his camp thought we were gonna match it, so we did, and then they said, "Well, let us think about it." And then apparently they told the Canes mid-draft, which is when we thought we were going to announce it, that he was not going to be signing with us, and they wanted to go free agency.
Late rounds on Saturdays. We're talking like Saturday afternoon, probably around rounds 5 or 6 is when the Kings got told that, nope, we're just going to go to free agency instead, even though you matched our asking price. So
yeah. So at that point, the Canes kind of knew, hey, he's probably not going to sign here. It doesn't matter. So we traded his rights to Tampa. And
got a pick out of it. So, I mean.
Got a pick out of it. I know it went a little – that kind of made everyone pretty upset.
Hey, you know what? Got a draft pick back out of it. So, I mean, at least you didn't lose them for free. So, at least you got something.
And I personally – based on how it went down, my opinion is I don't think anything the Canes could have done would have kept him. It seemed like he ended up making up his mind regardless. I don't think we can come here and be like, well, they should have given it to him sooner. The Canes had a lot of free agency things that they had to worry about. So having a day or maybe even like a day and a half to like try to negotiate that and figure that out with what else they had to do. I mean, I feel like that's pretty typical. And they met what he's asked. And then he had to go back and think about it. So I'm like, feel like he never thought we were going to meet it. And I don't know. I can't really fault the Canes on this because it sounded like he just didn't want to be here.
Yeah, it's what it kind of seems like as you look at the contract that he got with Tampa Bay, and it's just the numbers alone. I mean, it's gonna have to be 7 years because he wasn't with Tampa Bay last year. He got the extra $1 million because then instead of an 8x8, you get a 7x9. You also go to the tax-free state that is Florida. And if you actually look into the deeper part of what his actual base and his signing bonuses are, his base pay is like his entire contract's $1 million outside of 1 year where it's like a tad over $3 million. The rest of that contract is all signing bonus related. So that contract is basically bulletproof from a buyout. Like that's the contract. It's signing bonus heavy, essentially. Yeah. So it's base pay wise, not a lot. Can't buy the guy out when almost all of his entire contract is basically guaranteed through signing bonus. So I don't know. It sucks how it happened. Good job by Eric Tulsky and them for at least trying for asset management. At least got a draft pick back out of it. Of course, a lot of people be like, "Well, why we give up so much to get him?" Hey, you thought you were going to keep him? I guess you want to go to Tampa
also, Bay that's instead. What we asked for. Like, we've asked multiple times for them to do something big at the deadline, and they did. And so then of course you have that gamble. Like, hey, we got him, and we think maybe we can keep him now. Of course, after everything that went down, of course, some people were like, "Well, see how it went with him and leaving Pittsburgh and different stuff up there." So maybe it's like a trait of his to like kind of the negotiations kind of thing. You know what? In the long run, if you don't want to play here, that's fine. I'm not particularly a fan of if they meet your asking price, don't drag them along then. And because if you're not going to, like, you have to either take it or don't. And then, because it wasn't like it wasn't like he had like countered again. He said, let us think about it for whatever. And then you're holding them into the draft knowing they've got all these other guys they have to sign. I don't know.
You basically
it kind of rubbed fans the wrong way. It felt like a Tarasenko kind of thing all over again. Like,
yeah, because you're talking about they match your asking price Thursday morning. Elliot Friedman's on Pat McAfee talking about it, and they're like, oh, they're just ironing out the details. And then from Thursday morning until Saturday afternoon, you think about it, and then you tell the Hurricanes midway through the draft, yeah, we're not going to come back. And now you have a day and a half to go from Saturday to Monday of free agency. They'd be like, okay, we need to do something. Like, that's just, I don't know. That's just tough. And and good, like I said, good on Tulsky and them for to try asset management. Got to pick out of it. So
so it'll be interesting, of course, as the schedule released. The first game back for the Canes in the regular season is going to be Tampa Bay. So I know everyone with me is going to be very loud in greeting Jay Guentzel back into the building.
I like how the fact it's on a Friday night and it's a home and home back. We start the season on a back-to-back home and road against Tampa Bay. Like, we'll talk more about the schedule next week, but just that's your first one's a back-to-back against Tampa on a home and road. Great job, NHL schedulers, man. Way to go with all the back-to-backs.
It will be interesting, though, because, of course, the Canes will be ready to greet the former Kane, that is Jake Guentzel, but also Tampa Bay they did a little crazy things in their own off season, letting go of their captain and trading a guy.
Yeah, that was
sliding a guy out the door last minute before his no trade clause kicked in. Like, they did some crazy stuff this off season, so it'll be an interesting team to see.
Yeah.
Regular season.
Hey, props to Bill Armstrong in Utah, man. They got loaded on that blue line. In fact, you got Mikhail Sergachev like that. Hey, at least we don't have to deal with him very much longer. We're not going to deal with him very much in the Eastern Conference. But I mean, you trade Tanner Jeannot after giving up 5 or 6 picks and a player to get him.
They're trying to get back into cup standings, I guess. But
man, dude, just how you did your captain like that after 2 Stanley Cups, and I thought Vegas was ruthless. Dang, all right, Tampa, have fun with that, I guess.
It has been fun. It has been funny watching teams that did go kind of a lot in. I mean, it seemed like a lot for us just because we had a lot of contracts coming up and being done. But a lot of teams that went in during trade deadlines and different things have now had to give up a lot of assets. And it's been really interesting to see them just disperse into the wind. You're like, oh, he's going here. He's going here. Maybe they're signing him. Nope, he's gone too. So,
I mean, if you're looking at with the Hurricanes, I mean, you did get Ponomarev and a couple other guys and Michael Bunting to get Guentzel, but you only give him a draft pick for Kuznetsov and you can bring it back next year. So, I mean, all things considered in terms of what the Hurricanes had to do for the trade deadline to free agency, wasn't terrible. I mean,
no, it wasn't the worst.
I mean, at least we did something unlike other teams who kind of just sat in their hands for the first like 2 days of free agency. And you're like, oh,
talking about the Ducks. Talk about the Ducks. The Ducks said, "Here's some new jerseys. We're done."
That's all you get.
But of course, so there was Guentzel, and then we got to talk. Of course, we had a couple of free agency departures, and we all kind of knew it was coming. It was a solid core for quite a few seasons,
Mm-hmm.
And you can't keep them forever, unfortunately. Of course, there were some that just seemed they were here a little bit longer, and it just seemed like you would never let them go. But of course, our second home game, again, we'll talk more of the schedule next week or next episode, but our next home game, the second one of the season, will be against New Jersey, and we'll be seeing some familiar faces, unfortunately, with Pesce and Nason going to be New Jersey Devils in free agency. The rumors with Pesce, of course, so like you kind of got some preparation. You never knew what was going on with Nason, and of course then Nason signs, which is kind of funny because now there's rumors about Holla leaving, which I think would be amazing.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you know what? At least they get to hang out with Dougie again. So I mean, they got Dougie Hamilton. So they got what four former Canes now on the Devils roster as of right now. So I mean, and you know what? Congrats to Steph, man. You know he was making under $1 million, got that bag. Can't blame the guy for wanting to go get that money, and he's going back to a former franchise that he used to be with too. So,
yep.
And with Brett, I mean, there was last year you heard 5x5, then you heard 5 by 5.25, and I guess ultimately it was a 5 by 5.5, and it's just what can you do? I mean, hey, at least it's closer to family. So
True.
I mean, at least Brian will get to see Brett play a lot more often in person, I guess.
True. So those are two. You're losing a very key defender. I know a lot of people said he was missing a step this season. He was injured this season. I still think you're going to recognize that he was such a good core defenseman that you're going to miss him. And of course, you're going to miss his partner, Brady Shea, on the ice as well. Maybe you were going to keep one. You didn't keep either one of them. So you got Brady Shea going to the Nashville Predators, who apparently have thousands of monopoly money at their disposal because they were the big winners of free agency.
What was it 4 by 8? Was it 4 by 8 million on Steven Stamkos, and you get Jonathan Marchessault at the same time,
and Brady Shea.
Yeah, 7 by 7, just like we all thought with the Vincent Trocheck deal, where it was a 7 by 7. We all know the hurt as old as Brady Shea is, you know the Hurricanes are not going to give him a 7 by 7. Like they wouldn't give it to Vinny Trocheck. Why would they give it to Brady Shea? I love Brady, but they wouldn't even give that to Dougie Hamilton at that time either. So it's just one of those things where
we're not a team that likes to get caught in bad contracts, and not even bad contracts, but contracts that will go bad at the end of their time. We don't like to be caught like that, which is unfortunate because you can see like the first couple of years, you're like, all right, it's going to pay out. Towards the end, that's when you start to be like, I'm not so certain about that.
I know there's one contract that is a little bit longer than what Brady Shea got, which I'm very excited to talk about. I mean, for both of us at least. But that does make sense. But like I said, we'll get to there. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, you lose your whole second D pair is gone. You lose your net front presence guy in Steph Nason. Mm-hmm. And Turbo going back to Chicago.
The guys going back to their old teams. Turbo back to Chicago, which, I mean...
Good on him. Hey,
good for the Blackhawks. They need the help.
hey, you know what, though? He making the same money that he did in Carolina. It's for 3 seasons. So, you know what?
Good
and
for him.
Old Stop, that was the team that drafted him. He won a Stanley Cup there. They won... Apparently, from everything that I heard, Turbo wanted to go back to Chicago. It was like... He expressed interest first, and Chicago's like, okay. So, hey, if Turbo want to go back to Chicago, can't fault him for that. So, I mean, best of luck. I know we get to play Chicago at home. I think it's later in the season, from what I remember, because I know Walt put a lot of big shout out to Walt Ruff as always. He put out like all the important dates of like all the kids who left in free agency who we get to play this year at some point. So, but yeah, I mean, it's Stinkslers Turbo. I know AFP Analytics, those guys have been absolutely amazing in terms of like projected contracts. They said it was gonna be like 5.2 was their projected number. Turbo stayed at 5.4. He's not really losing any money. It's not a super long deal, and hey, go get your money, and all the best luck to him for sure. It sucks when you lose at least 4 of your guys out of your main roster, but
yeah, and we do have to note there is another one. It came later, and it's not a guy leaving, but we did have a trade.
Oh yeah,
Peep the future considerations coming back to the team.
Welcome
but Dylan
back.
Coughlin went to the Jets for future considerations, which he was going to be our extra guy, extra defenseman. So of course people are kind of like, does that mean Tony's coming back? I don't think so.
Honestly, it's probably going to be Ty Smith because we just did sign him to a 1-year deal. He has some NHL experience. From all indications that
you got Riley Stillman as well.
Yep, you just signed Riley Stillman to that 1-year deal as well. Mm-hmm. Former Buffalo Sabre, played with the Rochester Americans almost all of last year in the American Hockey League. Another depth guy. So
son of
Corey Stillman. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Same Corey Stillman that won the Stanley Cup with the team back in 05-06. So yep, we got the son of Corey Stillman. Good defenseman. Like I said, played with Rochester almost all last year, former Sabre. Yeah, another guy that you can bring up in case something happens to the defense, knock on wood. But honestly, Kat, Ty Smith is going to be your 7th. There's no reason why you bring Ty Smith back and then you bring Riley Stillman in free agency to kind of bolster your blue line. Because thank gosh we got an American Hockey League team for like all these contracts that are coming. And people are like, where are they going to play? Guys, we got the Chicago Wolves finally. We got them back. That's why we can get like. That's why we got like Eric Robinson, Tyson Jost, like Riley Stillman.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about. We've talked about all the guys that have left, but we also got to talk about that. Like while we were seeing everyone leave, everyone was kind of like poking at the Canes, like do something. Like you're losing, and you got to fill these holes.
Oh, they did. They got guys.
So
they got guys.
Looking at our forwards, we got like you mentioned Eric Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Former Sabre, former Jacket. Probably
going to be AHL, most likely.
Most likely because the fact you still have Brendan Lemieux coming back next year. So I'm going to go to assume that Brendan's going to be like your 13th forward if anything comes to it. Mm-hmm. So it's just it's another body in Chicago.
You've got another Slavin coming.
Yep. Josiah Slavin. 2-year, 2-way contract. Not a bad deal, all things considered. Another depth centerpiece. I know he played last year with the Toronto Marlies in the American Hockey League. The whole season before that was Rockford. Went to San Diego to the Goals to finish out his season. Season before that, it was like 15 games in Chicago. The rest was in Rockford. So it's kind of nice to have him have a stable season rather than having to bounce between like 3 American League teams in 2 seasons. Yeah. So another good deal. Hey, we got the Slavins. We got the Slavins together.
You got Tyson Yost. Is that correct?
Tyson Jost. Yep, Tyson Jost. Another depth center. Another former Buffalo Sabre as well. So yeah, you kind of gotten 2 more centers now out of those guys. So with Jost and Slavin, all of them. So most likely, I could probably see him in Chicago. Maybe a 14th forward in case you need another backup center, but most likely I could probably see him in Chicago more than anything.
I'm with Riley Stillman. Those are all the ones that you're probably going to see in Chicago.
Slavin, Robinson, Jost, and Mm-hmm.
So the ones you're mostly going to see on the ice is you've got Williams Carrier.
William Carrier, yep. 6 years, $2 million. I'm really kind of surprised for the length of the contract for being 6 years, but hey, at $2 million, if worse comes to worse, let's say 3 or 4 years down the road, you got like what? 2 or 3 years left at $2 million. The contract you can move, all things considered. He's basically your Steph Nason replacement of here's your 4th line net front presence guy. So not a bad deal. Former Cup winner with the Vegas Golden Knights.
True, and you've got. I know this wasn't what anyone was really expecting, but they were looking for a right-handed center, and you've got Jack Roslovic.
Jack Roslovic, yep, former Jacket, former New York Ranger. We all know what he did to us in the Game 6 and Game 7, but we're not going to talk about that. But yes, hey, right shot center. He can play right wing as well, too. So if you do need to figure out what you're going to do with your 6 centers, you kind of can throw Jack to the right wing. And because we are very, very light at the right wing position right now. If, Seth Jarvis is not officially signed, but it's going to be a lock at this point. You basically have Jarvis and Fost. Those are your right wingers on the Canes right now. So hey, what's up, Jack? Slide over to the right wing side. We kind of need a third body.
But that's good because you can still, even if he's over there, he can be your face-off guy for a right hand. Yeah. So
face-off percentage doesn't need to get better. He is a career 43% guy, but of course you got Jordan Stahl.
Fine. Do you know who his new coach is? That's fine. Did you see everyone's numbers improve when they come see Rob? Oh, yeah. Of course.
Well, that's what I'm saying. hey, let's not. Jordan Stahl is not chopped liver either. I mean, Stahl
but and that's what you can see. Like even Seth Jarvis's numbers have improved. Just
100%. That's what I'm saying. Like everyone's very like, oh, his face-off percentage is bad. I'm like, remember who we got on the Canes roster and who the coach is. Like, it's gonna be fine. Hey, the kid's got speed, and if he's on it, he's really good. I know he's not gonna light the world on fire, but not a bad prove-it deal, honestly, for 1 year, 2.8.
And of course, our two defensemen that have come in that we needed to. Of course, everyone was like, "Well, you're losing Pesci and Shea, so we got to know." And these were kind of fun signings. That we called, so a little high five to us because I was excited to see that one, especially. But the first one is Sean Walker, and I know
great deal.
Everyone was pretty excited that we got him.
Fantastic. 5 seasons, AAV really good. I think it was like 3.6, I believe. Yeah, 3.6. I think that's what the number is. Played with Colorado last year. Started his career with the LA Kings. Went to Philadelphia. Great defenseman. Very sneaky. He's a very good sneaky two-way defenseman. Can play basically power play and penalty kill as well. So definitely someone that's very, very exciting. And if you want a Sean Walker jersey, go get it. You've gone for the next 5 seasons. This dude is supposed to be really, really good. And Kat, I don't know if you saw the press conference that he did with media, but that was – I'm excited for this guy. I'm really excited to see what Sean Walker can do. So the fact that we got him, I mean, you know what? There is your Brett Pesci plus extra replacement, honestly.
Listen, it's interviews like his, it's interviews like the next guy we're going to mention, and it's interviews like Slavin, as we're going to talk about a little bit later. It's those interviews of guys being like, I'm really excited to be here, and I can't, like, from things I've heard, I've wanted to play here, all of that stuff. After the Guentzel stuff, it's just kind of like, yeah, we want you here too. Like, if you want to be here, we want to. You're going to get treated like we love you. You can see how the fans reacted to some of the fan favorites leaving this season. So I mean, once you're in the group, like, you're going to be welcomed with open arms. The next guy talked about it, and his thing about when he came in mid-season before, and he didn't even miss a step. He felt like he'd been there forever. And of course, the first person he texted when he got signed was Marty Party. But yeah, the one we called also came back is Mr. Ghost Bear is back.
Shit. I even said it to Nostradamus. I'm like, you know what? How cool if we got Shane Gostisbehere back and, like, what, not even 2 hours later? Hey, Shane Gostisbehere's coming back.
Richie was going through the list of top free agents or whatever, and then going through it, and he's like, oh, he's gone, he's taken, he's gone. And he goes, oh, but Ghost is, and I was like, yes, I hope we get Ghost. And then we get announced, and I was like, oh, we called it. I'm so happy because he fit really well in our system, and, like, to have him back when you're lost other key players is really nice.
3 years at 3.2%, an excellent AAV. I was excited when you had him.
Was helpful on the power play. Big help on the power play.
There's your Brady Shea replacement. And Kat, honestly, throw him on power play 1. We saw what Brady Shea did in the playoffs. You throw Ghost Bear back on PP1. If you want Burns to do it, slide him on power play 2 and just run with that. And honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. a Ghost Bear Chatty defensive pair 3, I would not be upset because we saw how good it was 2 seasons ago. Get those two back together, that would be completely lights out. And the fact that we get Shane Gostisbehere for 3 seasons, I am beyond excited for this. I liked him the first time he was here. We get him now for 3 more seasons. And like I said, you listen to Sean Walker's, Shane was like, he's like, when they were the first team to give me an offer, I'm like, okay. It's like, thank you.
Well, and it made sense because before, like, we all wanted Ghost to stay, but of course, like, you're like, oh, it didn't really fit because I think with Shea and Pesci there, he wasn't going to get. So you're saying maybe give him third line, but he could even be slide into that second because I think this is a guy that wants more of that opportunity and more of the responsibility on the ice.
I always, because I know it's like I've put out there like maybe like Slavin and Burns back together, or like maybe Slavin Walker, Orlov Burns, Gostisbehere.
No, Orlov and Burns should not be together. And I know you put it out there, other people put it out there, and I'm going to say it right now. I love them both. You don't have strong enough defenseman on that. Those are both guys that are going to pinch, and you need a guy to stay back and cover. Chatty covers Orlov really well. Slavin covers Burns really well.
And you
need it.
And you know what though? You know what? Ghost and Walker second pair, wouldn't be upset about that either.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I wouldn't be upset about that.
So, and the fact that Ghost and Walker can play on both sides of the defensive zone, can be upset about. That's a lot of versatility for those guys. So, just to get here's the crazy part, Kat. So, if you think of Sheffield's $3 million, Walker's 3.6, and Ghost is 3.2. All 3 of those guys were less than $10 million. All 3 of them combined were cheaper than what Shea and Pesci got. Nothing against Shea and Pesci. Go get your money.
They earned it. They earned it. But
that's
what we did. That's what we did with Shea and Pesci before. You get them in for those early good deals, and you try to win and try to get what you can during those deals. But then when they want more and you can't really swing it, you got to go for a different deal, and that's where you got these guys. And that's, I mean. It looked like the Canes were going to get a pretty solid C on the free agency. And then with these, you're like, all right. We kind of did pretty well. I mean, there's still some like trades that probably need to go on, but we did pretty well.
Yeah. All things considered, can't be upset with that in terms of just like your UFAs and guys you kind of need to bring back. And like I said, the fact that you got 3 of your defensemen locked up for less than $10 million. Not bad when you got 2 guys who left that made 12.5. So you'll take it honestly. But I know the next guy we have to talk about real quick, I'm really excited for. But honestly, Kat, I think we need to talk about some sponsors first before we go into all that with our talking about the bigger extension.
I can talk about some of the other stuff we talk about. I'm so excited to talk about, of course. But, of course, as we talk about the new season schedule being released and we talk about all the things we want to fit in the summertime before hockey season rolls around, I mean, everyone loves the Sebastian Aho deal because that's one guy that's stuck with the Canes for quite a while and hopefully...
Oh, yeah, his new deal kicks in this year.
Yeah, in a couple seasons.
Yeah.
Going to be your captain most likely, but shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring us as we are their brand ambassadors. SeatGeek, of course, is a ticketing app that can take the confusion out of buying tickets. I know we've got, in the next month, we probably got 2 concerts coming up on our schedule. And I know there's some more that we want to go to. And I think, so maybe comedians. We have a bunch of different, like summer is just the time to go and do all this stuff because it's beautiful out. You want to be outside. You want to go enjoy it. So why not try to go get some cheap tickets and go enjoy it and then be like, hey, let's get out. Whether you want to break from the kids and have a date night, bring the kids along, whatever you want to do. But I say check out SeatGeek because they put a 0 to 10 score on each ticket. And you know if you're getting a good or a bad deal. Of course, green is good and red is bad. $20 off, and especially some tickets before. I will be honest, sometimes that just covers, with his Ticketmaster, it might just cover some of the fees. But if you get a really good deal, like you get like an early promotion deal or something, and you get a ticket for like $40, oh, heck yeah. Count me in. I'll grab that ticket any day. So, of course, if you use our code, thesurgecast, when you go buy a ticket at SeatGeek, first of all, let us know what you're going to see, because if it's around Raleigh, I mean, I might want to hit it up as well. But if you use it, then you get $20 off. And I mean, I don't know about you, but a Sebastian Aho deal is always great in my book.
I mean, how can you ever go wrong with Sebastian Aho discounts? I mean, Manscaped's 20% off with free shipping. SeatGeek is $20 off your first purchase. A lot of Sebastian Aho is just flying around here for these deals.
Not to be confused, there was a trade of a Sebastian Aho, and everyone got a little freaked out for a second. Don't worry, ours is here to stay.
not the other. No, yeah, the Finnish, the Swedish Aho might be moving, but not the Finnish one. It's all right. It's okay.
But yeah, honestly, again, go check out SeatGeek. They're awesome. We've had lots of people tell us that they have used our code to get some money off quite a few shows, and it's been great. So of course, use the code the SurgeCast, get $20 off, and enjoy any shows around here. What shows, games, whatever. There's baseball going on. I forgot about that. You can go see an awesome baseball game and go towards the evening. It's too hot right now, but but if you're not, of course, going to see any sporting events, but you've got maybe your kids' hockey's going on, or you've got some beer league, I think there's someplace local, Zach, that people can go stock up on all the things they need, right?
I mean, if you're talking about Primo X Hockey, the OG sponsor of the show, then yeah, you have another Sebastian Aho discount. If you use code SurgeCast at checkout, you get 20% off your order. And, we're talking sticks, wax, tape. Even if you want to get some koozies, got some flags, got some hats. I mean, they got everything you really need. You got the skate sharpeners that are $5. Can't go wrong with that. So go check them out at 1401 East Diggs Drive. 10 minutes from the arena. You're basically supporting season ticket members of the Carolina Hurricanes, and you're supporting local. And we always say, Cat, shop local, support local. Because why not? And like I said, the Hurricanes fans, even better. So yeah, they got everything you need for indoor and outdoor hockey, although they got a lot of sticks in. They've got a lot of cool things. I mean, you can't really go wrong. And if you're not able to get to the shop, even if you're in the area or if you're somewhere else in the continental United States, guess what? Free shipping on your orders. And that's just how great they are at Primo X Hockey. You know what? Go into the store and let them know that SurgeCast sent you. Maybe they might hook you up at the store as well. Who knows? But PrimoXHockey.com, use code SurgeCast at checkout for 20% off your order. Like I said, go check them out in person. Check out all their cool stuff. Get your skate sharpened, and let them know that we sent you. Big thank you to Primo X Hockey for being the OG sponsor of the show, as we are now going to our 4th season of the podcast. Crazy to think we're at season 4 already, but Primo's been there every step of the way. So big shout out to them for being with us every step of the way. So there you go.
And of course, last but not least, you got to bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. So
even though
hockey is finally over. And honestly, I think we're like 100 days or less until the next season. But if you do want to bet on something, Zach, I think there's some golf odds you've got going on.
Yeah, we kind of want to change it up a little bit. We got the USPGA Championship for next season and stuff like that. But they do have some stuff coming up this, next year. For whatever reason, I don't know why they're so far out. But if you want to place your bets early for the 25 USPGA Championship, Scotty Scheffler plus 450 is the winner. Rory McIlroy, if he's not missing really easy putts, he is a plus 900. If we want to look at Bryson DeChambeau, plus 1,600. Brooks Koepka, plus 1,600 as well. So if you want to get your bets in a whole 11 months early, there you go. There's the 2025 USPGA Championship. Start making those bets over there for golf, because why not? I guess at this point.
Listen, it's a great time to practice how to bet, honestly. Get ready for hockey season. So download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 8778 HOPENY.
Hope NY.
Yes. Or text Hope NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved.
Oh, God.
Welcome back, skippers. Welcome back. And welcome back to Hockey Talk. Guys, listen, we love all of our sponsors because they are able, like, it helps us continue to do this because, listen, we can talk about hockey all day long. But I mean, having a little bit of moolah for talking hockey is also great. It makes this even more worthwhile. So we do love all of our sponsors. Welcome back, skippers. Let's talk more. And of course, you get to come in just for our third co-host to grace us with her presence once again.
Wait.
Drum roll.
Who are we talking about?
Baileyycurtis. Oh, we got some new hair going on.
We do. That was my mystery appointment that I'm just coming from, and it took forever. But I'm here. Fair. Hello. How is everybody?
We're doing well.
We're here.
We're alive.
We're not still in our holes from all the people that left. We're good.
No, honestly, during all of that stuff, I was sad. I did get some messages from Papa Pesci, and that made me a little emotional. So he said he's going to come say hello next time. But I did channel all of the sadness into ready to boo Mr. Jake Guentzel when he returns. So,
whoa.
In the most hockey way, channel your sadness into anger.
hey, you know what? You can pull an Alex Warren and just wear the bucket on your head and just start going boo really loud. So, you could do that if you want. So.
Are we making that a thing this year? Is that?
Hey, what? Let's let the fancy
say,
duck boys and let them see.
I was gonna say, Richie has his own bucket now to do that too. So he.
And it had to be.
It might make appearance. It might make an appearance at a game.
It had to be Pepe too, of all people. It's like you want one, even though it's not really his. I think we did figure out it was wasn't Elias Lindholm's. So actually, it's Lindy's bucket. So
he's got Lindy's bucket, but he's got Pepe's
the hoodie
sweatshirt.
and
nice. Okay.
So, yeah, there you go.
Nice.
So, wait, on all positive news, of course, Bailey comes in right as we need to talk about one really awesome extension that I know we say we don't sign people of later ages to long-term deals, but you kind of make an exception for the best defensive defenseman.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, are you talking about the cornerstone, Mr. Number 74 is going to go in the rafters?
We have their two biggest fans here on the podcast.
I don't know who you're talking about, man. I mean, the guy who's a two-time Lady Byng winner, should have won 3 in a row already. Should have had a Norris, but we're not going to go there because we've been there and done that with those. But Jacob Slavin automatically at like 10 o'clock Monday hey, we're gonna have a press conference. It's gonna be about Jacob Slavin, and it's like, just give me the contract. Tell me what
if you haven't heard, like, been able to see that press conference or listen to it, you should go listen to it because we do talk like he's not the most like. He's not the loudest player. He's not the most emotional player at times. And sometimes you're like, as a leader, you want to be more vocal. When he is vocal, which I think he probably comes out a lot more in the locker room because he is a very more personal player. He is very well-spoken about his thoughts of the team, of the coaches, of his time there, his family, what it means for him to be here. It's such a refreshing, and also you should go there for his kids because of course they were there and they were making some fun little appearances.
Yeah. So good.
But you can see why he wears the A. Like he was very excited. He's like, there's nowhere else I want to be. This is where I want to be for my family. I want to be here for the team. Love it here. And he deserves all of the years that we've offered him. Like honestly.
You mean like an 8-year,
$6.46 million.
Yeah, like
a steal, an honest steal.
That was going to be my addition. Is you look at a guy like Jacob Slavin, who's renowned through the league. His reputation has definitely been catching up to him as of recent. But you look at a guy who's revered across the league as one of the most shut down defensemen in the league. You sign him for a deal like that for $6.46 million on average
for eight seasons,
which is an upgrade. Let me just remind everybody, he was making $5.3 million a year, and he will make $5.3 million up until the end of this upcoming season before his deal kicks in. What a steal for the most, arguably, the most shut down defenseman in the league.
Guys, we talked about Brady Shea got a 7x7.
Yeah.
Slavin is worth 7 or more.
Yeah.
And he
Slavin's
probably worth 9.
Oh yeah, open market, you're talking 9.5 for that. How good Jacob Slavin is. For the fact that you got him under 9 is a steal. Under 7,
that's
we're buying
honestly
steak dinner for the next forever. Like every guy in that locker room. Jacob, don't even worry about it. I got you for the next 9 seasons. Thank you for like giving us extra money for us to have. Like he's your cornerstone franchise defenseman. Yeah, no big deal. The biggest like steal of a signing ever. Masterclass by Eric Tolsky in the Caves front office to be like, here you go, here's your contract. And Jacob's like, okay.
Which I don't know if you can call it a masterclass on Tolsky's part or just say thank you to Jacob Slavin at this point. Because honestly, what this looks like to me is and if you listen to the press conference at all, you would know his feelings on Carolina. He loves playing here. His family, he's raised his family here. He's had so many great memories to hold on to here.
He wants to finish his career here. So instead of chasing the bag, he's chasing the location, the family, and the team.
That just goes to show how great this organization is, how great this organization has treated him. Not only is his family here, but he's got a family in this team. He's got a family in the leadership. He's got a family in the front office. And it just goes to show that reputation that Carolina has been kind of known for across the league, knowing that players love playing here. And Jacob Slavin's contract is, I think, a beautiful example of that. And there's something to be said about, okay, well, yeah, of course he wants to make money. He got the fair end of the deal. This is what I believe to be a hometown contract to its fullest. Guys making a bag, but making a cheap bag in order to stay with Carolina and hopefully win a cup.
I mean, hey, look at the flexibility too. Like I said, you got a lot of guys that are coming off the Bucks next year as well. You guys still got to figure out Seth Jarvis. You're talking a contract that's $6.46 million for the next until 2032, 33. You almost want to say 2020 something. This contract goes into the early 30s. That's where it's at. And you're talking a contract that's going to be done by the time he's 34, 35 years old, and you're really going to right at the perfect line of where a defenseman's like, you're still good, but are you number one good? And Elliot Friedman even said it on 32 Thoughts. The fact that the Hurricanes want to give him an 8-year contract, which is what they don't do to guys around this age, shows how much they trust in Jacob Slavin.
Absolutely.
And Jacob even said, too, when he was talking to Walt on Storm Report, they don't leave in the offseason. They live in Raleigh. Like, that's their home 24/7. They just go on vacations to visit his family in Colorado or his wife's family. I don't think he said where exactly, but I know they go to visit both families throughout the year. Golf tournaments in Colorado for the Christian hockey players and stuff like that too. So it's like, yeah, their home base is Raleigh, and they just go wherever else because it's just easier for them to have a home area and just go visit family. So he lives and breathes the triangle.
Yeah, and besides like what he offers off the ice, his leadership, his composure, his honestly, it's looking at his future too, is because it's his on ice performance. He also, I don't remember who I want to give this to credit to someone because they talked about it, but the way Slavin plays, the reason he's worth 8 years is the way he plays is he doesn't put himself in a bad position to get injured or burned out. He plays such smart hockey that he is able to perform without putting himself at risk so he can last longer on the ice. That's why when we talk about his shifts, and his shifts are so long, is he can be on the ice that long because yes, he's like putting in all the work, but he's not like getting caught flat-footed, so he has to go chase the puck. Like he's constantly putting himself in the correct position to not have to go puck chasing or do extra work on the ice that could result in getting out of position and getting an injury, or having to go heavily into some guy when it's not necessary, having to race back and try to stop a puck. Like he's just so smart with how he plays that he's going to last longer on the ice than some guys that don't put themselves in correct positioning or have that IQ of let me make myself last as long as I can on the ice because I'm most helpful when I'm on the ice than when I have to go on the bench or in the locker room.
Right. I mean, hey, that's what happens when you commit less than 10 penalty minutes, 6 seasons in a row, and your only penalty in one season is a delay of game, puck over the glass.
Mr. Lady Bing himself.
I love that in the press conference. I'm sorry, guys. We're pretty much giving you a play-by-play. Someone said, they kind of joked to them, and they said, hey, Mr. was winning the Lady Bing, did you use that as leverage for your contract? And he kind of joked and goes, oh, yeah. I told him, yeah, you should probably sign the nicest guy on the ice.
I mean, yeah, like I said, when you're like, you were literally like, a delayed game penalty away from having a goose egg in penalty minutes, which I don't think anyone's ever really done that in terms of a season where it's like, yeah, here's your 0 penalty minutes for 50-something games. But the fact that he did it and the way he did it 2 years, like, yeah, you're just too nice of a guy. And the fact that he even joked to him and his wife were like, you can get a little bit more mean. He's like, you know.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'd say he's doing pretty well for himself as is.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah, when he's like one of 2 defensemen ever to win the Lady Bing twice. Shout out to Ryan Kelly who did it 6 times. But hey, when you only got 6 teams in the fact when he did it, I mean, but still, yeah, Jacob Slavin. The fact that you kind of knew what was happening, you're just kind of waiting until July 1st.
Which I will say,
saw the money come out. You're just like,
props to timing.
Yeah. And of course, you guys know we can talk about Jacob Slavin forever. But we still have a couple of things we have to touch on before we have some other little bits of news. But of course, we have a couple things we're waiting on because we've got the 3 guys that we're waiting to hear more about. Well, honestly, we're also waiting to hear about Faust in general, like how he's doing, but there wasn't any updates about him yet.
Updates, still no updates as of yet on how his recovery is with his neck.
So we'll let you know about that. There was some speculation with some of the signings, like maybe they might have some fills in case Faust still isn't good to go for the beginning of the season. But the 3 main ones that are question marks for us right now is Jack Drury, Martin Necas, and Onetruezach Jarvis. Necas and Drury have asked for arbitration with the Canes. So it's kind of interesting because I think Jack has kind of he's got himself a spot for sure. He's even worked his way up playing second line if he needs to.
He did win the playoffs. He did win the playoffs as the 2 seeds.
Yeah, but this is a guy that voiced maybe a season or so ago that he was interested in going to another team. So we'll see what happens with that. I think the Canes have kind of now after this last season really want to factor him as a bigger role on the team.
I think this says a lot about the guys too, talking about I mean, we both know that they have a lot of confidence in their skill, their play, what they're comfortable in as a player. And especially Martin Necas. We know this kind of situation with him. He wants to play center. There's no kind of question about that at all. But I think him filing for arbitration really says a lot about how Carolina's treated him, despite not giving him that center position that he's really been vying for. It kind of says, you know, Carolina's really backstopped at this position. They have a lot of talent at this position, and he wants to stay here. He also wants to make the money necessary to kind of live up to what he thinks he's capable as a player, as a player. And what this tells me is he knows he could get more somewhere else. He knows what he's worth. He knows what is kind of there for him. Contract wise, it's just a matter of getting Carolina to take that extra push, and that's kind of what it tells for me for Drury too. We've already seen Drury in a position like that. He's got a lot of really great chemistry and relationships with the guys on this team, and I'm really hoping they can kind of get to a deal, because losing a guy like Jack, who's really started to shine, and we saw him shine a lot with Stefan Nason. Being able to kind of see what he's capable of, maybe not with a veteran guy like that starting to take a little bit more of a bigger role in the team, it'll be really interesting for me personally.
Yeah, the Nason thing will be really interesting, or not Nason.
Necas
will be interesting because obviously there's a lot of teams interested in him. He's been our big moving piece that we could kind of be like, hey, we have some spots to fill. We could use Necas. For as many times as people say, hey, you have a right-handed center already on the team, Nate just wants to play center. Can he play center? Sure.
Now that face-off percentage. Now that face-off percentage.
Not in a Rod Brind'Amour style team. Like he's not defensive. He's not defensive enough.
The thing that also worries me too is you think about how he kind of tends to fall off towards the end of the season as well. When you talk about playoffs, he kind of falls off the score sheet, kind of falls off the stat sheet. And it's something that I think the team has a right to be very concerned about as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at it too. It's the fact that, he's disgruntled after one season on the power play 2 to make him be like that catalyst on the power play 2 unit. But he's like, no, I want power play 1 minutes. Well, sorry, we have a bunch of other guys that we can throw on PP1. And I'm sorry, when your face-off percentage is low 30s, I'm sorry, you're just not a face-off guy, and you're not internationally, whole different thing. But it's just you're not a defensive guy very much at all. Your trot passes to nowhere is absolutely killer. I'm sorry. Yeah, you get great stick handling and speed, but man, you're not a second line center. You can't complain after one season being on power play 2 when they want to use you in that spot. You give great stick handles, but I'm sorry, you're not worth $6 million right now. I'm sorry, you're not. You're not worth a $3 million bump when you got every other guy on the roster you need to take care of. Yeah, you have over $11 million in cap, but I'm sorry, I'm not giving up almost half of that to a guy who's privately said he wants to leave.
There's something to be said too about the fine line walked between knowing your capabilities as a player and knowing what your team needs out of you.
Can't throw a hissy fit and ask for a trade, and then your dad's coming out in media. Of course, I can take that as you will, but
that's
honestly, still bad luck. That's still bad luck all around.
There's been so much with dads in the NHL talking out of their you-know-whats. I've learned to kind of shut that out because there's a lot more context to be taken there than any of us realize.
It's just Martin Necas is asking way too much for a guy who's streaky as anything else, and every other team has seen it too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we've said before, like it's a two-edged sword. So like he's great, he's a good player, and you love it when he's on fire, and you love to have him on the team.
It's that reliability.
You don't want to give up that player in case he catches that hot streak on another team. But also, would you rather keep a guy that can be like lukewarm at times, and for just in case he doesn't catch fire somewhere else? or do you let him go and maybe grab someone that fits the system a little bit better and get some better returns for him?
Absolutely.
So it's kind of an in-between. We got to see, like, there's some rumblings around with that. So the good thing about the arbitration too is nobody, with all that little bit of like maybe drama, no one could do an offer sheet to him. So that was great. And then of course the last one, he couldn't do arbitration, and we know it's pretty much locked in. We just don't know how much. But there's still no news on Seth Jarvis yet. We know he's coming back. We just are waiting for the announcement. So guys, trust us. As soon as we know anything, we'll be yelling it from the rooftops.
it's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. It's just we were trying to figure out the minute details. It's gonna happen. He even said the UFA's got to get taken care of first. Mm-hmm. They'll take care of me.
That was going to be my point. Yeah.
Don left Tulsky a lot of stuff to do, guys. All right. He left Tulsky a lot of stuff to do. Jarvis is one, but also he knows, like, Jarvis is pretty much done. Let me make sure everything else is finished.
Right.
Seth wants to be here. Tulsky wants him to be. Tulsky even said, I like to sign for an 8-year contract right now. We just don't know what the term is. And it's like, it's going to be fine. He's going to be a Hurricane for a long time. It's just, do we go for the bridge or the 8 years? It'll be signed. Mm-hmm.
Which there's a lot of speculation there
top
too.
Right wing, top first line center, or right winger.
So we've seen the Hurricanes go two different avenues with players like Seth Jarvis too. We saw it with a deal like with Martinook, where we went for the bridge, and now there's talks of okay, what is that bigger kind of more settled deal look like? And then we see a guy like Seth, or not Seth, Andrei Svechnikov, who right out the gate gets his giant big contract, whatever, and we've seen how much he likes it here, where he's kind of fallen in, where his role's kind of taken place. Where do you see them going with a guy like Seth Jarvis?
I see more in terms of a Svetch kind of deal.
Honestly, I'm going to go for the middle, 5 years.
Okay.
Go for a nice little 5 years. You're talking 27, a year older than what Aho got his deal at 26. It's not the 3-year bridge. It's not the 8-year long. You can give them that nice little middle range. I think a 5 year, I'd say 5.5, 5x5, 5x6. Wouldn't be a bad deal, all things considered. Because I know AFP Analytics, who, if no one's checked them out, do so. They do a great job with their projected like they do short term and long terms. I think Seth was like a 3x6 point something, and then his long term was like a 7x7, 8 or something like that. So there's not much of a difference in terms of that. It's just a 5x6 wouldn't be too bad. Nice little in the middle deal, and you're still getting it in the back, but you still get flexibility.
I'm leaning towards the longer just because I think if it was that, it would already be announced.
The thing is that I think they worry about, though, is Seth Jarvis is a player who has not hit his prime yet. We still don't know exactly what Seth Jarvis is potentially capable of. And I think they're kind of aware of that, too. And there's a lot to be said. I know he hit his career high this past season. He's been on fire. But I also think there's a lot to be said about him not having reached that ceiling yet. And I think he and his agent are absolutely aware of that. So I could totally see like a shorter deal, maybe not quite 2 or 3 years. I don't know if I see something as long as 7 or 8. Just with the way that this kid is.
Let's do 6. It's in the middle of
I do like 6. I like
5.
I like the symmetry. I do like the symmetry of 5 and 6. Just kind of giving him a chance to kind of fall into his shoes, figure out, okay, what is that ceiling? Because it's a high one. He's only 22 years old.
I mean, when you score over 30 goals, you have almost 70 points. Oh, and you did it on a torn rotator cuff and a labrum, and you broke your finger in the playoffs.
That's my point. Is like
not even fully healthy.
What is this kid capable? What is this kid capable of? That's the point I'm trying to make. And so
90 points.
We're all saying he's worth. Just throw money at him. He's worth it all. We love the kid. We can't wait to hear the news on him. That's what every Caniac is waiting for. I'm pretty sure every day I see a tweet saying, "It'd be a good day to see something about Seth Jarvis."
Counter for that.
Just give him an 8x8.
One thing I did and you know what? This is our bad. We take him for granted it so many times, but we do need to mention we also signed Jordan Martinook. He is back with the team as well.
The energy of the team.
Make sure we don't forget him.
I don't want to get yelled. I don't want to get yelled at.
I was gonna say you got a fan club on Twitter who will not let you forget.
So it's great. Honestly, I took it for granted. I was just counting on him being with the team anyway because he is such a good locker room presence. He's such a good leader. Absolutely. He is our own version of Wayne Gretzky. He hustles both ends of the ice. He'll be on the ice. Sometimes I rarely see him on his feet on the ice, but that's just because he's working so hard.
Hey, that goal save.
That was going to be something we bring up.
Marty Party dove so that Matthew Tkachuk could fly. Okay, listen.
No, I was gonna say this is honestly Zach's done. I was gonna say honestly, Martinook is one of those guys. Like he's a constant neutral zone presence. He's a guy you can rely on in the neutral zone. But when he's on fire, he is on fire. He has. So I love
that
moments.
He's the first guy that Shane goes to texted saying, "Buddy, I'm back." Cool.
You look at a guy who not only has those moments on the ice, but can be that locker room presence. Just goes to show how incredible of not only a hockey player, but a person that Jordan Martinook is. And to think, 2 years ago, guys, this guy was on waivers. To think we could have lost him if anybody else found out about this guy's potential and this guy's ability to hype up a locker room and hype up his teammates and be that supporting presence. And we have him here. I don't know how much longer we have him down. I know he's signed to a 3-year contract, but I don't know how much longer past that we have him. I hope he retires a Hurricane. That man is fantastic, and we're so happy and grateful to have him back.
Yeah.
Honestly, too, for the AAV, I'm upset.
Not mad at all.
Tad over 3, not upset about him. Hey, great deal for him. And
hell, I would have signed that contract.
So anyway,
I would have given it.
So that is all the updates on our players. We're very excited. You're gonna have a different team on opening night, and there's still more changes that might come. There's
gonna be more changes. We are still short on left and right wings and our second line center. So this isn't the final roster.
Keep an eye on the players. Keep an eye on the players in the AHL that are working their way up. I mean, Drury and Jarvis worked their way up to get onto the starting lineup.
And especially with development camp having just started.
What's that face for, Zach? Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Go on. Just go on. We're good.
No. Explain the face. For everyone watching on YouTube, explain the face.
So we got development camp going on right now. So, I mean, that's going to be fun. I mean,
I was going to say this is going to be a great opportunity for those guys who we saw develop last year.
Undersorum is out there. It'd be great to see what he can do. He's not even 19, or is he 19?
He will be 19 in September.
And there were talks of this guy cracking the lineup last year too. So we know this guy could potentially. I would love to see him get more development before he reaches the show.
I know, for spoiler alert, if anyone listened to Locked on Hurricanes earlier today on Tuesday, did talk about for the fact that I would love to see him in Chicago with Cam Abbott, because Cam did coach for Rogla BK in the SHL. So there you go. He's seen what Felix can do. Wouldn't be a bad thing to have him in Chicago and kind of both. Because, I mean, Cam Abbott, he's Niles Höglander, Moritz Seider. He's got a few other guys that he's coached that are in the NHL right now. So wouldn't be a bad thing to get some of your Swedes together.
No, and so that's what I'm saying is there's so many guys that are capable of potentially breaking this roster come October. And I even Tulski kind of mentioned it too, is they're looking for a few of those younger guys who are looking to take that next step and take that step up and show that they are capable of handling themselves at the
They're looking for guys. I'll say it again because you gave me a face, Zach. They're looking for guys like Jarvis and Drury. They excelled in AHL, but then they were like, I'm ready to cause a difference on the ice and break into the system.
Oh, yeah.
No, again,
it's 100%.
It's that double-edged. It's that double-edged sword, I think, where you look at a guy who really excels in the AHL, but you've seen a few of those guys over the years who you could see them do more. They are absolutely capable of doing more. It's just a matter of, okay, how do you get them there, and what steps do you take to get them there?
I think if you're talking about the young guys who could break it, and we'll talk about this more on the next show. I think we'll probably like a Bradley Nadeau, Jackson Blake, maybe.
I would love to see either of those guys.
Scott Morrow. I see him in Chicago.
Give him more time. Him more time.
I know you missed it, Billy, but they're talking like who is our 7th D man? Ty Smith. You also just signed Riley Stillman. Yeah. Stillman played with the Americans. Yeah. Just let Scott Morrow do his thing in Chicago. Give him some time there with Cam. We don't need to rush this. There's a lot of our younger guys. We don't really need to rush right away. So the wings, maybe defense.
Last thing we need to do now that we actually have a place to develop our prospects once again is let that fall short and try to rush guys who aren't ready. So I am a firm believer in do what you need to do to fill the spots on the NHL level, but development is not something that should be messed with, especially with young guys like that.
Did you guys see the development camp when they had them do the first day of school?
Oh, the kindergartner.
Did you see the ones they said their favorite player? So there was ones that said their favorite player, and one had Aho, but one had Seth Jarvis.
I know.
And the fact that Seth Jarvis is some guy's favorite player, and he's like maybe just barely 2 to 3 years older than that guy. That's hilarious, and just speaks to honestly Seth, but.
Hey, did you see what the Nadeau brothers did? One of them said that Bill Berniston was his favorite.
He's my idol.
So it'll be fun. Keep an eye on the Dev Camp, but of course, also we have the fun little thing coming up of the NHL versus the KHL Stars charity game, and you're going to see some familiar Canes faces. So of course, we had Svech and Orlov. But you get to see another fan favorite who hasn't even come over to the NHL yet, but has been many people are saying are ready for it. Is in this household we love to call him Knickknacks, but Nikishin will be playing, and I believe Mr. Piotr is subbing in for Igor now too.
Yes, that is confirmed. Big shout out to Annie from our Canes Russian fan. She's all over the translations and everything that's going on over there in Russia and stuff like that. So yeah, she did say that Piotr is stepping in for Igor. So you got 3 current Canes and 1 future Cane going to be part of this NHL versus KHL thing. So.
I heard he's going to be so excited too because he'll be playing with Bob, and that's what he's been wanting. He's wanted to be on a team or be with Bob.
That's going to be fun.
That's going to be just a dream come true, honestly.
100%.
So get to watch some of our Canes, get to see some potential Cane as well. And of course, the big news that broke recently. That's
not related to signings.
That's not related to signings, but it is a new addition. Is we have a new president, and it is a guy that everyone is really excited to have. Just a little history on him. Fun fact: he was an intern for the Carolina Hurricanes. He was an intern, and then as we love Mr. Dan LaTaraka, before he was around. This guy was also the vice president of marketing. So he's got a little bit of that communications marketing background. Of course, then he has been president of MDO Holdings. He's had a very close relationship with Mr. Don Waddell. But Doug Worf is our new president of the Canes. And
welcome back, Doug.
Welcome back. Honestly, and if you want a guy that is a fan first and loves the community and loves the team, this is great. It is all around so positive.
I was gonna say, speaking of loving the community too, this takes a lot of pressure off of Eric Tulsky's shoulders. That's less times he has to pick up the phone. Yeah. If any of you guys watched the press conference, he talked a lot at length about that. But this is a guy who can help manage a lot of the renovations and the building up of the space around PNC. A guy who can help oversee all of that and help out with the team and take a lot of that burden that was put on Tulsky's shoulders when Don Waddell left. So this is and not only that, but as we've been saying, saying. This is a guy that the team is familiar with. This is a guy, it's a familiar face coming back. So I'm sure a lot of people in the front office are very excited about this. And I think the fans have a lot to look forward to with him running ship as well.
Yeah, a lot of people are already excited about it. So
honestly, just go look at his Twitter feed. Like, he is such a big fan and so through. I mean, like, of course you want to be a fan of the team, but like for some people, it's just business going in, and you could be coming from somewhere else. But he is a through and through, like, he lived and breathed the Canes, and it's going to be so fun to see what he does, especially with just his heart for the community, and kind of that is stuff that the Canes, I think, could reach out more with. So it'll be really fun to see what he does. And just give him a big welcome. It's, again, we've all talked about it. Don left some big shoes, but I think between him and Eric, it'll be.
This team and this front organization is in great hands.
Don't forget about Darren York, assistant general manager. Can't forget about him.
Sorry.
Can't forget about Darren York, man.
Who's been doing some great work since the draft as well. So.
Okay, you can't disrespect Yorkie. Can't do it. Can't do it. Now, someone who has been disrespected, and I can't believe we're having to do this a second time.
Oh, God.
Back-to-back years we've done this mother effing podcast. We got to do this all over again.
Talk about the counter that needs to go in the corner right up here. How many years running this has been happening?
And you want, as friend of the podcast, Jared
I feel
Ellis
like they're doing it as like a running joke now, just like how just like how DiCaprio never won like an award or like a certain award forever.
Talking about jokes, we can talk about the Norris too.
How about for the fact that Jared Ellis said it perfectly? Death, taxes. Someone from Locked On Hurricanes has to talk about Rod Brind'Amour being snubbed.
There we go.
Such a joke.
Talk about big shoes to fill, Zach.
Yes, already talked about it, but it's for the fact that Rod Brind'Amour once again gets snubbed. Alex McGillney, big shout out to that guy for also getting snubbed for the fact that he's got over 1,200 points in 1,100 games. How is a guy who's for his career is over a point per game still in the Hall of Fame is an absolute joke. And you know what? I said it on the show. You got in. Congratulations. Shea Weber and Jeremy Roenick, not deserving in the slightest to get in. I'm sorry. You won a Messier Award, and that's how you got in? Congratulations. Congratulations to Shea Weber for being a first ballot Hall of Famer with a Messier Award. Jeremy Roenick got it. He finished 6th one season in points. No awards. No Stanley Cups. Rod Brind'Amour is a back-to-back Selke winner and he won a Stanley Cup.
And with that, what a better way to end.
No, Billy,
episode one.
What are your thoughts?
I was just gonna say, I feel like all of my discretions have been hashed out before it in past seasons, because this is not our first rodeo in talking about.
I mean, we don't have anything left to say.
No, that's where I'm going with this. Is I'm kind of lost for any other words that I might have already used in seasons past where we've gone through this process. All I can say is there better be a very nicely sized hole in the wall reserved for this man in years to come, because it's a travesty not to have him included in this draft class. That's all I have to say.
One last thing.
I love Mike resharing it, being like, "There's nothing more I could say from last year to this year." Is that like
honestly, it's just a matter of retweeting past words.
How about the fact that the Canes Twitter account is just like, oh, so Rod's gonna get in, right? He's gonna get in,
right? Yeah, the Star Wars.
You know what? Big shout out to Steve Dangle for the fact that he went absolutely all in on Colin Campbell getting in as a builder. For the fact that this guy is still with the league after reports came out that he favored his kid and was trying to ruin careers of referees who call penalties against his kid in the 2011 Stanley Cup final. And he still has a job in the league and now is a Hall of Famer before Rod Brind'Amour. Oh, and for the fact that our commissioner is still active, is already in the Hall of Fame too, goes to show that AHL front office is a joke. It is a travesty, and good riddance when it's finally time for you to leave.
I
my
How
goodness!
do you really feel?
I didn't know he was in the commish was in the Hall of Fame. That's hilarious.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was like last year.
Yeah.
He got it last year.
So what? He nominated himself and then threatened everyone, like, you better do it. So like people
Two
like, me. Like,
lockouts.
what is that?
2 lockouts. 2 mother effing lockouts. This guy gets into the Hall of Fame. You got a front office
But you're also
guy,
still
and you lost the Arizona Coyotes.
That's like him being like at work. That's like me being at work and then coming and being like, I nominated myself for Employee of the Month. And everyone's like, well, you're the manager. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm Employee of the Month.
I'm the one who puts the plaque on the wall every month. I can do whatever the heck I want.
Somehow one of your higher execs wanted to get rid of some referees and favors his kid was playing hockey. Got leaked on email, but somehow it's in the Hall of Fame too.
Anyway, we're gonna end on a good note. We could talk about this forever, but hey, we have years of Jacob Slavin, another guy that'll eventually be hopefully in the Hall of Fame. But
no, give about 30 years. Give about 30 years.
Thanks guys for joining us for episode 1 of season 4.
How are we in season 4 already? Like,
it's been an exciting off season. And hey guys, we got Bailey back. It's great.
Hello.
The dynamic
in about like 6 more episodes, we'll see her again. It's
we'll see. I like to keep you on your toes. I like to keep you on your toes.
But yeah, so thanks for sticking with us, of course. Thanks to all our wonderful sponsors. This feels good to do. Bailey, where can people find you, and where can they find the SurgeCast?
You can find me over on X at baileyycurtis, and that's Bailey with 2 Y's. You can find me over on Instagram at baileyycurtis. Keep an eye out on my socials. I got some exciting news coming up here in the next few weeks that you will not want to miss, especially if you are a fan of hockey, not just the Canes in general. If you are looking for news on the Canes and where to find our beautiful faces, you can find us over on X, Instagram, and YouTube, all at the SurgeCast. If you're watching on YouTube, hi, hello, how you doing? Be sure to hit that big like button down below, that big red subscribe button down below. Let us know what you think of the latest free agency signings, the news on Wharf, and the inevitable RBA snub that we are all so tired about hearing. And be sure to check out all of our socials. We have LinkedIn's in the bios, so you can find wherever to listen to the SurgeCast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff, as well as where to find all of us on socials as well. Zach, where can they find you?
Well, first off, we got to talk about the amazing network we're with. So that's the hockeypodcastnetwork.com. If you want to check out THPN, we got podcasts for all the teams. We got original content as well. If you want to look at college, Terry Ryan from Shores, he's got a podcast. Does have guys from the cast on at some point, so make sure you check that out. All right, I got about 10 minutes to go through all the stuff I got to talk about.
Everybody turn on your playback speed. Put it at 2.
See you in a second, skippers.
No. Okay. X, onetruezach. You can follow me on Instagram at ZRMartin22 if you really want to look at the hobby stuff. You can click the link tree in my bio. You can find all my articles at the Hockey Writers. Yes, Kat, I do write. Don't.
Really? I didn't know.
Also, get check out all my stuff at the Calder Times, and you can also find where to listen and watch my other podcast that I do on Locked on Hurricanes.
You have another podcast? What?
Hey, you know what? As long as you've been gone, Billy, stuff has happened. So things happen when you leave us for.
Whoa! I feel like a new person. Please tell me about this podcast, Zach.
Kat, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on the Tiki-Talkie at KVT Hunter 74. And then if you want to find me on Twix, It is caniacchic.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm on both. Honestly, on both, but just taking. I mean, it's a very busy summer, so just taking time off for both. But hopefully, some fun things coming up on TikTok soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for sticking with us, guys.
Yeah.
A lot longer
It's
than we
good to
thought
be
it was
back.
gonna be. A lot longer episode than we thought it was going to be. So.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so
It's an hour and a half. That's
Hey,
par for the
Howie,
course
I
with
now want to
us.
hear you complain about how long this episode was. All right, I don't want to hear it.
All right, so for all of us at the SurgeCast, this is a sign off from Kat,
Zach,
Bailey,
and we'll see you next time.
probably.
at the SurgeCast.
Pitter patter, let's get at her.